Mention Saudi Arabia and most Americans think of an oil-wealthy nation in the Middle East, but this desert land, which encompasses nearly all of the Arabian Peninsula, is also rich in history and culture. And it's the subject of an exhibition titled Roads of Arabia at the Carnegie Museum of Natural History in Oakland. On display here are more than 300 artifacts never before seen in North America. Artifacts specially selected for viewing by the Saudi Tourism and Antiquities Commission. Prince Sultan bin Salman oversees the commission.
Saudi Arabia is known, of course, for its position as the land of Islam and the land of big economy, oil. Now we are really opening another window. This window is to show another dimension of our country, a dimension that is really very little known to the people of outside Saudi Arabia, even inside Saudi Arabia.
And that's why this exhibit was created. Dr. Sandra Olson heads the Center for World Cultures at the museum.
What's so exciting about Roads of Arabia is that our visitors are learning how important Arabia has been through time. And so this is a great opportunity to learn how fascinating its history is.
A history that dates back thousands of years, even before Saudi Arabia became a nation.
This exhibit covers an enormous span of time, from about 1.3 million years ago with the stone tools coming out of Africa, going right up to 1932 when the first king of Saudi Arabia united all the country.
Recently discovered artifacts reveal a fascinating tale of Saudi Arabia's early settlers who crisscrossed the peninsula on camel caravans, transforming it into centers of trade and commerce.
So it was a bridge for early African hominids to flow outward to reach the rest of the world, and it was a crossroads with the development of the incense trade for frankincense and myrrh, which we all know about from the Bible. It was produced in southern Arabia, and then there were trade routes going all the way to Greece, Damascus, Baghdad, India, and ultimately to China.
Some of the items discovered along old trade routes include bowls, glassware, statues, and gold items.
This gold mask and glove, as well as some beautiful jewelry, were found on the tomb of a 6-year-old child, a little girl. She must have had a royal status. The mask was found over her face, and the glove was found over her hand. So what we see here are some examples of the exquisite jewelry that were found with the 6-year-old girl at Taj. And you can see that there are examples of inlaid pearls from the Arabian Gulf, some turquoise, and an exquisite little cameo in the center of that necklace. What this demonstrates is that there was a lot of trade for semi-precious stones, including rubies, possibly from India.
Other interesting finds include a sculpture resembling an ancient horse found in a place called El Magar in southwestern Saudi Arabia.
And we're not sure whether it's a horse or perhaps a domestic donkey or a wild onager, which is the Asian ass. There are some animal bones that have been found there, so we want to try to find out what kinds of equines were represented there.
The Arabian horse is one of the oldest breeds in the world. Evidence of its existence are carved into sandstone formations known as rock art.
What we see here is a very clear example of an Arabian horse based on the body conformation, so the facial profile, the strong neck, the well-developed hindquarters, and the high tail carriage. And we see it associated with writing that shows up around 8,000 BCE. So this tells us something about when the Arabian horse first comes in to Saudi Arabia.
Rock art is of particular interest to Dr. Olson. It can be found throughout Saudi Arabia, but not all are animal depictions. This one was built as a final resting place for dealers of the incense trade.
And we've been using a technology developed by Carnegie Mellon University and NASA for the Martian rover that's called Gigapan robotic digital imagery to film rock art throughout Saudi Arabia and cover many localities. And we've brought some of those images into this exhibit.
Any comprehensive study of Saudi Arabia has to also include the nation's official religion, Islam. And in this exhibit, the pilgrimage to Mecca, also known as the Hajj, is highlighted.
One of the 5 pillars of Islam is that a person should attempt to make the Hajj to Mecca and Medina once in their life. And so these cemetery tombstones represent those people who died along the way. And they're very interesting because they give the names of the people. They give some epithets, including how religious the person was. They will say something about their ancestry and often about their profession. So they represent people who've traveled great distances.
And this exhibit has also traveled far, from Europe in 2010, then to Washington, D.C., and now here in Pittsburgh.
Well, Pittsburgh is a great city. It's the hub of a lot of universities and medical centers and science centers. So Pittsburgh is a main stop for us. So it is really a place where we think the exhibition will reach a different audience.
An audience curious about the history and culture of Saudi Arabia.
For me, it's a very important statement that the Saudis are willing to take their most precious objects out of the kingdom and let them travel around for many, many years, just so that people can better understand their culture. And it's been very successful so far. It's just really eye-opening. And I think people are enjoying it tremendously.